Alright, so how's everybody doing today? Or this evening time. So this evening, I have for you guys my full review of the Blue Studio C. Now, let me apologize for the lighting. My lighting at nighttime is not the best, but I wrapped up all my tests. I got a little sidetracked today because I wanted to shoot this earlier, but here it is. So here's my full review after using the phone for just over a week. So here we go. So the first thing I'd like to start off with is let's talk about the build quality here. And I must say, it's built quite well. It is a plastic build, so it does creak, but it feels solid in the hand and really good. And actually stands up quite well because I did drop it one time, no issues. So build quality on this is solid, very solid. Now moving on, let's talk about the display in this guy. And what we have here is a 5-inch 720p display. I kind of got the brightness cranked too high. Give me a second. Turn it down for you guys so you guys can see. That still looks a little high. That's good. So that's good right there. And the display actually looks quite good. I don't know if the camera's going to do it justice, but as 720p displays go, it looks quite good. And as y'all have seen, it gets fairly bright, so it's pretty good outdoors. Didn't have any issues with viewing angles, and the viewing angles are actually quite good. So the display is pretty solid. Now, for more info on the display, let me jump into this app real quick. And you can see right there, the pixel density is about 320. And you have an HD display. Not full HD, but 720p is good for this type of phone. So the display is solid. Now, moving on, let's talk about the hardware and software in this guy. So hardware-wise, we are running a quad-core processor clocked at 1.3 gigahertz. Let me double check that. Yeah, clocked at 1.3 gigahertz, and it's an MTK 6582, so it's not a newer processor, but it actually runs quite well. RAM wise, we got 1 gig of RAM in this guy and 8 gigs of onboard storage with expansion via micro SD card up to 32 gigs, I believe. Software wise, we are running Android 5.0 Lollipop, and it's a very stock build of Lollipop, which is what I like. You know, no heavy skins. It's really stock here. As you can see, they did good with this one. Now, just to show y'all, and the battery's getting kind of low. Been running this on the same charge for a while now. We are running 5.0 here. And just so I get all my bases covered, I did say I had a software update in the unboxing video that was adding APNs, I guess. But it does pretty well. I never beat this game. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Stock Android with all the stock features. So that's the software and the hardware. Now, moving right along, let's talk about any glitches, stutters, and crashes we have in this guy. So, glitches and stutters wise, the only few issues that I've seen is with the Wi-Fi. First off, it's a little weak and it has a tendency to disconnect every once in a while, and the display, although it is a good display, it has a tendency not to register all of my touches. So sometimes I gotta touch stuff more than once. Now, is that a problem? No, you get used to it. There's stuff you could tweak in the settings, but out of the box, there's a little mistouch going on. It doesn't happen every time, but it happens a lot, so I figured I might as well bring it up, like right there. There you see, it's kind of not picking up my touch, and then there it goes. Other than that, no other issues with this guy. The software has been fairly smooth, and no problems. And the battery life, we're going to cover that in the battery life section. So, moving right along, let's talk about the, sorry about that text message, guys. Let's talk about where are we at? Let's talk about the Wi-Fi in this guy. Now, Wi-Fi wise, we're using Wi-Fi 802.11 BG and N, no AC, and it's fairly smooth. It's not as strong as I would like, but it gets the job done and there are no issues. So let me jump into screenshot of the Wi-Fi test that I did here, and you can see these scores are not great, and for my Wi-Fi configuration I'm used to seeing way better stuff than that, but it does the job. Although the Wi-Fi does disconnect every so often, it works. And yeah, so that's the Wi-Fi. Now let's play a real quick video for you guys so you guys can see it in action here. So let's let this load up and you get to see some loading times, so fairly quickly. And let's just find a video here. Matter of fact, we could play one of my videos. So here, and we'll give you a chance to check out the sound. Alright, how's everybody doing today? Got another unboxing video for you guys. It's kind of hard to get it all in the frame, but let's scrub ahead here. Power button, and I must say, so they got a nice click to them. Yeah. You guys may be saying, oh, well, this device is kind of old. And yeah, there we go. So Wi-Fi wise, although it does disconnect every so often, it runs okay. And the strength is decent. So should have no problems with the Wi-Fi. Just keep in mind that it will drop every so often, and you just tap to reconnect, and then it's not going to have any problems. Now, moving right along, let's talk about the bands in this guy. And I did find them this time. Let me see where I had them at. Pulled it up on my computer, I believe. Give me 1 second. Alright. So, when we talk about bands in this guy, we have, let's see if I had them pulled up over here. Yes, I did. So we have GSM bands 850, 900, 1800, and 1900. And then the other bands is 850, 1700, 2100, and 1900. So that covers 4G HSPA plus. So it's 4G, it's not really LTE, but that's what Blue calls it, but not really. It's 4G HSPA plus. And the speeds were, as y'all have seen in the Wi-Fi test that I showed y'all earlier, they were good. I mean, they work. Not the best, but they work. And I am using it on T-Mobile. So, and T-Mobile's coverage here was pretty good. So, oops. Alright. So, that's the bands. Now, moving on, let's talk about the Bluetooth in this guy. And this has Bluetooth 4.0. And I must say, didn't have any issues with the Bluetooth. Let's cut it on real quick. So you can see I did pair up my headphones. No issues pairing up to either one. And the Bluetooth was fairly solid. I did send some files to and from my phones here, and it was fairly solid. So Bluetooth on this guy, not an issue. Now, moving right along, let's talk about the GPS in this guy. Now, as I've said in my other videos, I'm not too directional savvy, so the GPS in phones is pretty much something I use all the time. So a phone for me must have a good GPS. If not, I'm not really going to stick with it too often, or I'm going to have to find a way to fix it, something, because that's really a core feature that I must have. And the GPS in this guy is really good, really good. I didn't have any issues connecting up right away. The strength outside and inside was great, and you know, didn't have any issues with the GPS. So the GPS is good. Now, moving on, let's talk about the call quality and the speaker quality in this guy. Now, the call quality, I must say, was really good. Didn't have any issues hearing people on the other end. The receiver was quite loud. It was quite clear, sorry. And I didn't have any issues. Now, when it comes to people on the other end, I would think that some people have to get better phones. Because, you know, my sister's been rocking the same phone for a while now, and her phone has some issues. But as of my end, people had no issues. They said I was loud and I was clear. And so the call quality on here using T-Mobile is pretty good. And I did also test this out with Cricket, and it connected up no problem. Didn't have any issues there. So the carriers I can vouch for this working for with no issues are Cricket and T-Mobile. Other than that, you'd have to check and make sure the bands are supported. But call quality was pretty good. Speaker quality was also pretty good. Now, keep in mind it was a rear firing speaker, so it was easy to muffle. When I'm taking speaker calls, if I put it flat, I might have some issues muffling it. But when I pick it up and I'm using it, no problems. And y'all saw from the Wi-Fi test that it actually gets quite loud. So speakers on this guy, pretty good. Now, moving along. Looks like I opened something there. Let's close that out. Moving along, let's talk about the cameras in this guy. Now, didn't really like the cameras too much. Not in this one. Keep in mind, it does have the same, well, I wouldn't call it the same. The software is the same and the setup is the same, but I think it's a lot better camera module in the Blue Studio X that I reviewed before this. But camera wise, it's supposed to have a 8 megapixel camera on the back with flash, and the flash is pretty good. I do use my phone's flashlights. Took this outside a few nights, didn't have any issues. Now, and it's a 2 megapixel camera in the front. Now, I'm not going to talk about the interface because the interface was the same as in my Blue Studio X review. So that nothing really changed in the interface there, and it's pretty much the same features. Now let's jump into some picture samples here so you guys can see. Yeah. And now the thing about the pictures here, guys, is my friend's daughter. Low light, it really didn't do so good. You really needed to find the right balance of light to get a decent picture. As you can see, it really struggled. It washed out a lot, and these are on really sunny days. And I think because of my lighting in the room right now, it's making it look a lot worse than it is. But you really have to try to get the right balance here if you want a decent picture. So video wise, it records in 1080p, I think, at 30 frames per second. And the videos, when it comes to the primary camera, they're pretty good. The sound is good. Now, let me see if was it this one. Alright, that was the front facing camera. Let me flip over. And yeah, I think it was this one. Alright, so what we have here today is a video test of the front facing 8 megapixel camera. Make it a little brighter for you guys. Studio C. There you go. And I think this is supposed to, I'm not sure, I think it's supposed to record in 1080p at 30 frames per second. And I apologize for the shakiness. So that was the primary 8 megapixel camera there. Hold up, Now moving on to the front facing camera, the pictures themselves are actually really, really good. Now where we had the issue was with the video on the front facing camera. I didn't really like how it was coming out. So what we have here today, it kind of looks very pixelated. Of the front facing camera. Almost pixelated to the point where it makes me look like I'm sweating. And I believe it's 2 megapixels. So don't really like the front facing camera here. Pictures wise, it's gonna be okay, but video calls, not the best. I mean, it's passable if you want to do a video call, but it's really not the best. So that was the cameras on this guy here. So yeah, the cameras, you can clearly tell that they cut some corners to keep the price down, and it shows. We'll talk about the price a little bit later on. But yeah, not really feeling the cameras too much. Moving along here, now let's get into the gaming portion of the review. And I must say, this phone played pretty much, whoops, holding the wrong way, any game I threw at it. These were one of the few that I tested. Didn't have any issues with this. And yeah, so let me just load up one real quick and show y'all. And I do believe that the GPU in this guy was the Mali 400. So play a little bit for you guys here. Whoa, I lost the exposure a little bit. Skin's starting to look a little orange. I did have it better, I apologize. So let's play a quick game here. You guys can see. And this is really hard to play behind the camera, but we're gonna make it work. Alright, I'm not gonna play a whole thing for you guys. But gaming wise, didn't have any issues. Any issues at all. And I must say, with the big battery that's in this guy, I was really able to game for a lot longer than I should. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So, moving right along, now that you see that the gaming on here is actually solid, let's talk about the benchmarks. Now, oops, clicked the wrong thing. This phone did not benchmark well, but you can see, you know what I'm going to say already. Benchmarks are just numbers. It's just numbers. As you can see, it scored quite low though for both of these benchmarks on Volemo here, but it's just numbers. And as you can see from me using the phone, didn't have any issues. It did score. See, did I get it? Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah. Scored pretty low on every benchmark here. I don't know if you can make that out. Let's get that focused. There you go. So, that's it right there. So, a 1977 on quadrant here. And then here's the Geekbench scores. So a pretty low single score and a okay multi-core score. So, that was Geekbench, and here is 3D Mark. And I think that was on Ice Storm Extreme. And then finally, here's Antutu. So, not gonna benchmark high at all. But as I said, they did quite well with the software and hardware mix here, because it actually does pretty good. So that's the benchmarks. Now, let's get to one of my favorite parts, the battery life. And I must say, the battery in here is a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. Now let me go to some of the screen on times I got here. Now right here, you already know I got 3 usage scenarios. Right here, this is with moderate use. And let me just make sure. Yeah, that was with moderate use there. And I got about almost 7 hours of screen on time. And you can see it more than lasts me through the day right there, and I still had some left. So that was with moderate usage. Now, here was a heavy usage day, and I got 10 hours. That was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I got 10 hours. And that's what that looked like. Screen was on 66% of the time, so that's heavy usage for me, guys. So I was watching YouTube, I was watching movies, I was listening to music. Yeah, I was going hard. And I got 10 hours. So even if I go hard, it's still gonna make it through the day, and I have crazy battery life on this, yo. Now I must say, if you use it lightly, you're definitely gonna get a day. If you use it lightly, you're gonna get a day easy. Now, yeah, maybe even 2 or 3. So the battery here is great. It's great. So, moving along now, let's get to the price. Now, using the apps that I've used, I think I already detailed them in the Blue Studio X unboxing. I was able to get this guy after using some gift cards and things for $72 after shipping and handling, and it came in about a week. I used the really fast shipping, so I had to pay a little extra, but without paying for the extra. And like I said, I think this was a used refurbished unit that I got from the Amazon warehouse deals part of Amazon. So, and I must say it was really good, and I paid $72. And normally this phone goes for about $100. So that's a pretty good deal to me. And I actually have another phone on the way, should be coming here in a few days. So y'all look out for another video soon. But the price here and for what you get is really good. And now that kind of surprised me because of all the bad reviews that I saw and I read on this guy. People had a lot of issues on this guy. And really what it comes down to is that 2 things: quality control and luck. That's pretty much all I could say. Because you might get a good unit here and it'll work, no problems, no issues. And some other people got bad units with bad displays where the display went out, you know, and that's really just quality control. And you know, Amazon does offer 30-day warranty. And if you look in some of my older videos, I might post a link or I'll recopy the link. Blue does offer warranty on their phones. I think it's like 3 months or something like that. So sometimes you just get bad luck and you buy a bad unit. And now personally, I had some issues with Blue's warranty, but I'm not going to get into that. You just need to make sure you get a solid working unit and you have a decent phone. Now, so guess my final thoughts here, and wrapping everything up, I guess I would have to say, would I recommend this phone to people? Would I consider this a solid deal? Now, yes. Do you have to cut out some things? Yes, because the cameras on this, not the best, but you do get a very stock-like experience. You get solid battery life, you get a decent sized phone, you get a pretty good display. So would I recommend this to people? Yes. And now, I think I'm going to keep this. I'm going to add this to my rotation. And yeah. Let's slap the case back on here. So, I think that about wraps it up. That was my full review of the Blue Studio C. Now, as always, if y'all enjoyed the video and you want to see more raw, uncut content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I do have more videos coming. You know, if you thought the video was good and you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help your boy out. If you know anybody looking for some quality devices at some really great prices, please share with them my channel, because y'all already know I'm pretty much just trying to get everybody the best deal possible. And once again, I'd like to apologize for the lighting. I wrapped up, so I shoot. That's how it works. Once I get through everything I want to cover, I wrap it and I shoot. So, yeah. I guess I'll catch you guys in the next video. You guys have a good evening. Peace.